I'm Sally Lyndley. Welcome to Lyndley Trends. On this episode, I want to discuss one of my other favorite, I know they're all my favorite, inspirations from the Paris shows, specifically Comme des Garçons. Ray Kawakubo based the collection on the concept of monster. Now, I always have loved monsters and monster movies, and especially monsters that, I don't know, were fun and campy and whatever. So I did a little research and started reading up on the background of the concept monster, especially since, Ray Kawakubo likes to throw out a random reference and a little bit of an esoteric reference, and I think this one is, one of her best. She said the collection, was inspired by monster and, making ugly things and she's always known for an anti-fashion statement, and this is definitely one of her big moments of that. So looking into the monster concept, the monster was considered in like Greek, Roman, and very old legendary stories, it was usually considered something that happened when nature was out of order, or there was something wrong with the natural order in the world. So it was kind of like a red flag, or sign that things need to be put back in balance. So I think that's interesting when you're looking at Ray Kawakubo's use of this concept on her runway show. The Japanese, both Japanese and these old, more Eastern and Western legends have always done some sort of version of monster, whether it was Cyclops or a monster with 5 heads, or things like dragons, and usually it was something that was human-like or animal-like, but with a twist, like some sort of weird mix of different animals and things like that, or like mermaids and people and things like that. They're not really people. Mermaids aren't people. What am I talking about? But those kind of animals or whatever were considered monsters in a lot of these stories. So again, it was usually a signal that something was wrong with the natural order in the world or the universe. All that being said, I think what's also interesting when I looked into the history of monster was the pop-up of tons of monster movies in the teens to the 20s, when the silent films became really popular. That's when a lot of the original monster movies that I feel like I know and think of in my head when I think of monster kind of came about, like Nosferatu for Dracula, lots of vampire movies, lots of Frankenstein movies, and lots of werewolf movies. So again, we're going back into what we've referenced many times here before in the last episodes of this post World War I, between World War I and World War II, and then also post World War II, there were a ton of monster movies, specifically coming out of Japan because of the nuclear weapons. They did a lot of monsters based around like things being touched by nuclear weapons or nuclear energy, and suddenly like you have things like Godzilla, which are like bazillion feet high lizards and things like that. So suddenly it became like the land of the giants, like Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. There was also, of course, King Kong, which was awesome. Jessica Lange, hello. But, I think it's interesting when you go back and you look at the silent movies that were the monster movies. Great inspirations there, great visuals references there. And then when you look at the post-World War II movies that were, the kind of Hiroshima nuclear inspiration, and they were just so much campy fun. I mean, a lot of those movies have become cult classics, like the Creatures of the Black Lagoon, and like I said, Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, and all these really fun campy movies like that. Really, really great inspiration for us in the fashion world for visual campaigns. These are great concepts for social media. They're awesome ideas for any kind of visual campaigns you're creating for your website, or for ad campaigns, or definitely for editorial stories. These are all really, really fun concepts to play around with. So, and again, we're looking really closely at that kind of the teens in the 1900s to the 1940s, 50s, and 60s, when all of these monster films, were a really big deal. So take a look at Comme des Garçons, check out the fun monster movies I have posted below, and have fun with this. This is a really fun trend to kind of get your head around, a little bit less heavy than maybe some of the other stuff we've been covering, but definitely a fun one, and one of the most relevant considering it's coming from Miss Ray Kawakubo. So enjoy monsters, and I'll see you guys in the next episode of Lyndley Trends.